We're going deep, and we're going hard.
Nikolai, Gaz and Saffle and team. We're going to Azerbaijan.
Yes, sir. I hear it's lovely this time of the year.
The next day, with Nikolai's supplied intel pointing towards a safe house in Azerbaijan, Price, Gaz, Soap, and some loyalist forces storm several buildings hunting for al-Assad. Once he's discovered, an interrogation ensues, where al-Assad seemingly reveals little. However, Imran Zakhaev calls al-Assad during the questioning, revealing the former to be the true mastermind behind the decimation of American forces in the Middle East.
I was just a lieutenant back then. I was under the command of Captain Macmillan.
Set 15 years before the events of modern warfare, under the command of Captain Macmillan, Lieutenant John Price journeys into the ghost city of Pripyat, Ukraine, to an old hotel that oversees an enormous stretch of the city. Intel provided warned of a weapons exchange happening, which Imran Zakhaev, a weapons dealer dreaming of extremist military power, would be attending. During their commute through the empty buildings and squares, the two had plenty of time to reminisce about their surroundings and otherwise harass or avoid the Russian militia. Once they reach their vantage point, they hunker down and wait for their target.
Okay, I think I see him. Target acquired. I have a positive ID on Imran Zakhaev.
3 days later, the intel proves correct and Zakhaev's weapon exchange begins. Once the target is properly identified, Price takes the shot, dismembering Zakhaev's left arm. Enemy forces are obviously alerted to Macmillan's and Price's presence because of this, leading to a thrilling pursuit through a couple abandoned apartment buildings, before Macmillan comes dangerously close to meeting his end. With a militia on his heels and a captain on his back, Price fights his way to an abandoned fairground, where they are extracted by a very delayed chopper. Safe House, as I put it, is bathed in subtleties. Follows the SAS attempting to track down al-Assad in a number of different buildings that may or may not be his safe house. They're trying to find his safe house where he's apparently gone to ground after the nuke detonation. So everybody's looking for him, obviously. This is like Osama bin Laden levels, right? But the title there is a bit more nuanced because I think it also speaks to Captain Price's journey. Because towards the end of the level, you see Captain Price, as he's interrogating al-Assad, he gets the call from Zakhaev, and it's almost like he's not even a second thought given to al-Assad, right? It's all about Zakhaev, the guy on the other end of that phone. And then we're treated to those prequel missions. Not only serve to establish Zakhaev is a villain. Captain Price, it serves to reinforce his character trait that, he doesn't leave anybody behind. The fact that he hauls Captain Macmillan all the way to the, extraction point and even onto the helicopter itself. But it also kind of sets up another arc for Captain Price. So really this game is all about Price. So these prequel missions show us that he knows Zakhaev. And that puts the scene at the end of Safe House in a whole new light, because it's almost like Price is entering his own safe house. He's entering into a war with an enemy that he knows, that he's familiar with. You could say it's a metaphorical safe house that Price is stepping into.
ETA on the chopper's at least half an hour, Captain Price.
No good. We'll be corpses for 10 minutes by then.
Let's do this.
8 hours after al-Assad's death, the SAS team are attempting to hold their position at the former safe house, and Zakhaev's forces have begun assaulting them in retaliation. With the help of explosives, javelin missiles, and the turret of a downed chopper, the SAS managed to keep the ultranationalists from advancing further up the hill. However, due to their position being too hot for a pickup, the SAS must fight their way back down the hill to secure a safer landing zone. They do so, joining forces with Staff Sergeant Griggs and the rest of the Marines left after the nuclear detonation in the Middle East. Heat. Again, the title kind of goes in different ways. The whole mission sees you battling ultranationalist forces who are attempting to avenge al-Assad. But you could also read Heat as the squad having almost a fire lit under them, as they say. They have a new purpose. They know who the bad guy is. It's Zakhaev. That's the major plot development of Heat.
Daddy's boy. Zakhaev's son, commander of the ultra-nationalist forces in the field. The loyalist Kamarov has got a location on the kid.
The next day, growing more desperate to catch Zakhaev, the SAS, Marine, and Loyalist forces covertly take over an enemy checkpoint that Zakhaev's son, Victor, is likely to pass through. Disguised as ultranationalists, the squad eliminates Victor's escort, but the man himself scampers off. Soap and Griggs then give chase, eventually cornering Victor on the roof of a partially destroyed building. With no other way out, Victor Zakhaev commits suicide, thereby robbing the squad of their link to his father. However, Price laments that Imran Zakhaev will not let the death of his son go unpunished. The sins of the father, if anything, kind of just reinforce what I said about Safe House and Price's mindset towards the end of it, when he finds out that Zakhaev is the bad guy. Once Victor, Zakhaev's son, is commits suicide on the roof, Price says a very key line.
Forget it. I know the man. He won't let this go unanswered.
So again, that just reiterates that Price feels like he's on familiar terrain. He knows this bad guy. He knows Zakhaev. And lo and behold, what happens? Zakhaev does exactly what Price said he would do. He retaliates.
All U.S. and British forces will leave Russia immediately or suffer the consequences.
A day later, the SAS and Marines move on Zakhaev's nuclear facility, performing a halo jump to avoid detection. Upon landing, Price, Gaz, and Soap regroup, while Griggs is captured by nearby ultranationalists. Once Griggs is freed, the team dismantles a nearby electrical tower, thereby allowing for infiltration of the facility's fenced perimeter. Upon advancing, the team rendezvous with American snipers, only to witness 2 missiles being launched from the facility. Zakhaev, in retaliation for the death of his son, launched the ICBMs to strike the eastern seaboard of the United States, with the potential death toll being up to 41 million. And so you could see how Ultimatum kind of takes its name. It's by his launching those ICBMs, by Zakhaev launching those missiles, he's kind of giving the world an ultimatum, or giving the SAS an ultimatum. Price's care for those under his command. Price, Gaz, and Soap all end up together and regroup, but Griggs is actually captured by the ultranationalist forces, I guess because his descent just went off course, Before going after this ICBM facility, Price immediately says, okay, let's go get Griggs. And he even jokes about it with Griggs.
About damn time. I was starting to think you guys were going to leave me behind.
That was my first thought, but your ass had all the C4.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good to go. We got a problem here. There's another one!
With the missiles in the air, and despite having no abort code in hand, the SAS and Marines push on through harsh defenses with unconventional measures and against immeasurable odds. Command gets a hold of the abort codes from the Loyalists, transmits it, and the team saves 41 million lives. They make their getaway in a couple of jeeps, just as Imran Zakhaev takes to the air. All In is kind of the natural follow-up to Ultimatum. The missiles are in the air, so you are all into this mission. This is your only way to stop it. And it's a level just drenched in desperation. There's constant gunfire, you're always moving, the urgency is now, right? You really feel like we have got to get in there, this is gonna blow up the US. And then, kind of tacked on to that level, is no fighting in the war room. And that's when you finally get into the facility and destroy the nukes mid-flight using abort codes given to you by command. And you also find out that Zakhaev is going up in the air. He's in a helicopter now, so. But after you do away with the missiles, it's you're just trying to get out of there. You're just trying to extract.
Sir, I wouldn't mind getting a shot at Zakhaev.
Yeah, well, get in line, mate. He can fight us first.
The team outruns and outguns for only a short time before the helicopter carrying Zakhaev destroys a public bridge to stop you. Price, Gaz, Griggs, and Soap make their last stand on the remnants of this bridge. with Griggs being the first to give his life, trying to protect Soap. As Zakhaev himself lords over the scene, he personally executes a stunned Gaz. The team's fate is sealed. However, a glimmer of hope is given in the form of a loyalist attack on Zakhaev and his forces. With the villain distracted, Price uses the last of his strength to slide Soap his pistol, and in a moment, it's over. Soap takes down Imran Zakhaev and his 2 henchmen. Loyalists disembark from their choppers to offer assistance, including the SAS old partner, Sergeant Kamarov. As Soap's wounds are tended to, he catches a glimpse of his captain receiving desperate medical attention before being airlifted away. At the end, Zakhaev catches up with you, blows the bridge to smithereens, gets rid of Griggs, gets rid of Gaz. Supposedly gets rid of Price, but it kind of circles the story back around, right? It kind of circles it back to this idea of Soap's position within the squad. Remember, he was FNG, he wasn't treated like a equal member in the cargo ship operation, but now at the very end, with his whole squad decimated, you get this sort of affirmation from Price. He's taking care of the enemy he should have taken care of years ago, right? He kind of sees it as a personal failure of his. What is there to do when your past or, something you're responsible for comes back and causes destruction? What is it that you have to do?